This in our neighborhood is around as much foliage and the kinds of trees that you're going to be able to see if you're walking down a street. Generally, you will encounter these four-story small apartment buildings. The older ones are walk-ups, the newer ones have elevators. And some of them have taken the trouble to plant small trees on very, very, very tiny planters, just sort of thin strips of earth built in to the side of buildings. They have a sort of decorative value, but there is no way that you can consider this kind of foliage and these sorts of trees as anything that sort of seriously contributes to the ecology of the neighborhood. For the most part, the buildings in this neighborhood now are basically just pure cement, concrete structures, frequently with no attempt whatsoever to add a touch of green to their base at street level. Now, some of them arguably do have green roofs, but that again is hit and miss. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because this whole neighborhood started to develop in the 1970s and 80s. This is Sochugu, Bangbei-dong, where we are right now. And you can find old archival photographs of, for example, the Gosok terminal, the original bus terminal for the area, being built in 1973, just surrounded by farmland, empty farmland. Nothing was here in terms of development until the 70s at the earliest, sometimes the 80s. And originally this particular street was just filled with private homes, with houses that were built as independent family structures, sometimes with an apartment built in on the upper roof. But for the most part, they had a completely different design ethos. And here we are in front of one of them. You'll notice behind me that the amount of foliage suddenly increases. If you walked along one of these streets in the 1980s, the 1990s, the early 2000s, you would have seen quite a few houses like this. Here has a nice evergreen, quite tall, behind me. It has several small bushes, and it has a smaller evergreen bush just in front of the house. And it really possesses, in total, substantially more green than the apart that have replaced it in recent years. So what's happening is the neighborhood is just being devastated in terms of its tree population.